born in 1904, so she's 12 years old, as was my grandfather. The Irish War of Independence has its official start. One of the things I love about that, it's the Easter Sunday uprising, right? It was actually the day after Easter. But it's poetic if you call it the Easter uprising. And the Irish are like, close enough.
Yeah, if it had happened in South Bend, Indiana, it would be the Dingus Day uprising, because the day after Easter in the Polish community is Dingus Day, and we eat all the leftover sausage and hard-boiled eggs.
A great reason to have an uprising, I'd say.
It was supposed to happen on Easter Sunday, and it didn't.
Yeah.
Which is also very Irish.
Well, who's going to miss a dinner with meat in Ireland in those days?
Fair enough. Yeah, my grandmother, again, she was out in a 6 miles outside of Donegal town on Loch Esk. Gorgeous lake, beautiful place. It's along, if you're in Donegal town on the Diamond, you take the Gap Road towards Derry, and you go out about 6 miles, take a left-hand turn, and that's where the family's at. My grandmother, I was lucky first, to have a grandmother who lives to be 102. And my mother told me when my grandmother was about 75, she had quadruple bypass heart surgery. And just like 2 months before that, she was walking to the grocery store. So she's 92 and she's taking the half-mile walk to the grocery store. And a car hits her. And she rolls up onto the top of the car and then rolls off onto the sidewalk and then gets up and sits down on the bench, and the fella gets out and it's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And she's like, "I think I'm okay. Just, sit here for a minute, but I think I'm okay." And the guy, it was, helped, got the groceries and drove her back home. She didn't have to walk all the way home. But she grew up an Irish peasant. I mean, she grew up in just really, really tough stuff. But when she was about 75, she has quadruple bypass heart surgery. My mother says, "You really should go get to know your grandmother. She's not going to live much longer." And it started a series of what for me were really life-affirming and life-changing visits, because I went out the first trip and I brought little, what was it, like a professional cassette deck, 4-track studio, right? And I set it up to record her telling stories. And she looks at the machinery, and I've got a microphone, right, like this, and she's like, "Do you expect me to talk like this?" And I'm kind of like, "No." Push the button and the red light comes on, and she never stopped. She just kept talking. I think actually I discovered something that maybe I was supposed to already know, which is that as we age, we're waiting for the young to come to us to ask us what it is we've figured out and what we know. And I was lucky enough that I had that opportunity with my grandmother, and I've got 35 or 40 hours now of tape that I still have to put on the headphones and go, "This is from a long time ago now. I have all this stuff. It's not on tape anymore, now it's in digital audio." Go through and listen and try to edit it into something, maybe an hour, that I can then give to the grandkids so they can get some of the wisdom that my grandmother passed on to me. Like that comment about singing. And where was I going with this? What?
The Rover.
Wild
Rover, yeah.
Anyway, one of the comments she made to me was that as she's growing up, every song, she said, every song was a song of revolution. We would put meaning into the song that we knew so that we could sing it. She grew up in a predominantly Protestant area. She said everybody got along just fine, and then all of a sudden, her father's best friend is Protestant. They helped each other on each other's farms, and one day they're walking in and it's raining, and Joseph Harvey, that's my great-grandfather, and his friend Joe are standing outside in the eve, and Joseph Harvey invites his friend in. He says, no, I'll just stand out here in the bloody rain, right? And her father comes in later, and my grandmother reports hearing her father say to her mother, "Joe's taken the pledge." He had taken the pledge of an Orangeman, which meant he would never enter the home of a Catholic. So you saw the political enter the personal in this moment. And she also said that it really wasn't an issue in her area of Donegal, the revolution, until 1916, when they executed all those men. She said she remembers the rage that surged through the community. If they hadn't executed them, there wouldn't have been an Irish independent war. So you get to figure out what this song is actually about, but my grandmother would say there was always a hidden meaning, right? I've been a wild rover for many a year. I've spent all my money on whiskey and beer. Now I've returned old and great scores. I never played the wild rover no more, and it's no, they never. No, they never, no more. And I play wild rover, no, never, no more. I went into an alehouse that I used to frequent. I told the landlady me money was spent. I asked her for credit, she answered me nay. So the customer as you I can get any day, and it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. I play our rover, no, never, no more. Out of my pockets I pulled sovereigns bright, and the landlady's eyes opened wide with delight. And she said, I have a whiskey, wines are the best. And the words I said to her were only and best, and it's no, they never. No, they never, no more. And I play while Rover, no, never, no more. I'll go to my parents, confess what I've done. We're gonna hang out on this chord for a while because it's going to take me a while to confess what I've done. And ask them the fun, the prodigal son. And we're gonna sit here for a while while they think about pardoning me yet
Those 12 Hail
again.
Marys, 23 Our Fathers.
And if they'll caress me as often before, I never play my rover no more, and it's no, they never. No, they never, no more. And I play wild rover, no, never, no more, and it's no, they never. No, they never, no more.